Productions.
Sometimes I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you! You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. You know, why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.
And hello, a merry Monday. A merry Monday to you all out there. The LPR, Tyler Yonke. I wanted to do a few things, and then I saw over here on YouTube that Jose is doing something similar, which is Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, the FBI. They came out with all these statements about stuff, but I'm going to probably take a little bit different, because what I want to do is I fell into this. I love this kind of stuff, right? When you do you can't be consistent, right? And hypocritical. That's the word I was looking for. And I saw that with Douglas Murray. We found that clip. He says one thing and then he does it. What did Kash Patel and what did Dan Bongino say about just the Pennsylvania assassination attempt before they were in the FBI? Because they've said all kinds of stuff that they're going to do about the FBI. I'm going to close it, deep state on day one, but we hear it all. What did you say back then about the FBI and the Secret Service, and what are you saying now? Because they could be telling the truth, but that's not the point I want to make. The point I really want to make with these people is, what is their predictions like when they're pontificating? They got put into these positions not because they are brilliant minds and legal scholars or some sort of crime fighters. They put it in there for being bombastic. Okay, that's what they got put in there for. So let's hold them to what they say. You know, this whole thing going on right now with Dave Smith and other, Douglas Murray, whatnot. And Dave keeps saying, look, my track record is really good about things I said about COVID and whatnot during that time period. And you look back and you go, yeah, you're right. So let's take a look at these guys and see if they're the Jim Cramers. Are they the Robert Barnes of this stuff? Okay, look, people, I think we have everything working here. We have a few people. Lincoln's in here. Ruthless is in here. We even have Brain Bucket over there. Tyler's eyes are almost as wide as Cash's. Fuck you. Look at this. Let's take a look at those eyes. There's my eyes are actually today, especially they're more like your wife. They're Sonny Boy, Dickie Walnuts. Hope you're doing fine. Or your sons. Maybe your son has squinty eyes. Before we go too much further, what I do want to talk about, though, is I want to go this. I don't know how you. I'm still a little confused about what do you call it? I can't even know what I'm talking about. Substack. I'm a little confused still about Substack. So let's take a look here. I have a Substack. All the posts are up there. You can go there. You can see all the podcast feed. I've written stuff for there as well. But what I found out this last week is we could do live shows there. So I'm not streaming there live right now because I'd have to do a dual thing out on RTMP. But we will do members only. Just go there. It's Substack or Tyler Yonke or Substack.com/Tyler Yonke or TylerYonke.substack.com. I'll put it. It's in the description. Go there. And there's me talking right now. Go there and join up. It's free. You can pay. You can be different. I only have I have one person that's paying me. We have 30 subscribers. So go there, people. There's not a lot of people there, but that's going to be the place I'm going to push our members, and we can have little stuff going back. I think it's the best bang for the buck. And the live stuff that you can do there is really pretty good. So why not? Just go there and subscribe. Like I said, you can do it for free. You can do all different tiers. And one of the tiers is $30 a year. You don't have to do that one. That was I'm like, why'd you do that? But I appreciate it. But you can join up for free. So join up there for free, and then we may do stuff with tiers coming in there. NA8HH says, David, yes, Laney, if I put Toad's company on blast in a weekly edit, will they sue Toad? Okay, great questions, because we're going to talk about two things tonight. The FBI, and we're also going to talk about Toad. Now, I've done, so as you know, I do mostly family law, but I have done stuff in the past, wrongful termination, and how those lawsuits work. It's typically because a lot of states are free will or at will employment, so you can fire people for whatever reason. However, there are ways around this, okay? And they're through the Civil Rights Act, okay? Now, each state has their provisions for this as well. So a lot of what I do, I'm in California, so you probably saw this because we talked about this with the Blake Lively. There's a lawsuit out there, and I'm like, it's not filed anywhere. Well, what it is, you actually, if there's a civil rights violation, you can report that, and you have to do it before you just file a lawsuit. You have to file typically within like 300 days. Each jurisdiction is a little bit different here, okay? And you've got to file either with the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or your local, your state, similar thing. Like here in California, it's called the FEHA. In Massachusetts, it's called the MCAD. I don't know what they'll stand for. Massachusetts Civil or something or other. But it's the idea. So you file this complaint with them. You could be fully like on pleading, like we saw with Blake Lively, like you would do in a lawsuit, or you could just write a letter and file this complaint. Sometimes if the issues are so egregious, the state or the federal government, they will take on the case themselves. Now, as your attorney, it's just like, well, let's just go. And it's pretty simple, okay? So you just follow along with that. Now, if in most sense, they are just saying, we're not going to do this, but you have a right to sue. Then they issue out a letter called a right to sue letter. With that, now you can file a lawsuit. You can file it in state court, or you can file it in federal court. Each state has different, and by the way, to go into those different jurisdictions, sometimes you could do it on all the state claims in federal court if there's diversity and different issues that get you that jurisdiction to file it in federal court. For whatever reason, you may want to go there. I filed a one in California in federal district court here in California, and we ended up settling. Now, each state may have little provisions, like we have what's called the Unruh Act, which goes into a little bit more about discrimination, a little bit more specific, okay? So you depends on what state you are. Toad's in Massachusetts. We're gonna get to that real quick. Let me tell you, go back to having a beard. Okay. Yeah, Tyler's on that Colombian pre-workout for sure. Old man got too much energy. I don't know what you're fucking talking about. I don't have a lot of energy. I don't have any drinks here with me tonight. I already ate. I've been working late, and then I'm gonna do a little bit more stuff. Okay. You may say to yourself, Toad? What's a toad? Toad's a what? Yes, exactly. So what I thought we would do is play a little clip here of the Toad Man. If I could find it. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to find it myself. Of Toad, and he'll kind of explain what happened. Now, if you've been living in a hole of some sort, like a toad would, what you don't know is, Toad played Kanye. Ye has a song, okay, and Toad covered it on his ukulele, and it says Heil Hitler, it says the N-word, and he covered it, and then he got fired. Okay, so we're going to play a little clip here of Toad talking about that. Maybe I should use this one here. Let's. I don't know that he's beloved, but here we go. Here is. This is gonna work. Maybe this will be fine. There we go. This one. Okay, so here's Toad giving a little explanation to it. Ready, go.
Poster, member of the hit comedy show Tower Gang, suicidal sports veteran, prolific ukulele artiste, and former Libertarian Party presidential candidate. I mean, you know who I am. And as many of you are aware, recently I was doing what I usually do and having fun messing around on my ukulele, and I decided to post a cover of Ye's new hit, Heil Hitler, on Twitter to make people laugh, and it unexpectedly completely blew up to about 18 million views.
Okay, let's fact check some of this stuff. So, first of all, perhaps it was. I have only seen it around 8 point something million. It is astounding to me that it's got that high, but it's also astounding to me that it's plateaued. I just don't believe that's the case. So I think Twitter is doing something to throttle Toad in this sense. He claims at one point he saw it at 18, so did Clint. Now, behind the scenes, we've been trying to, Toad came out last week, it's like he's on the Wednesday show, he's like, something shit's gonna happen. And then on Friday, he was terminated. We've been kind of, keeping it on the down low. My advice is, it depends on what he wants to really do with this, because if he's really looking for the lawsuit angle, maybe just shut the fuck up about everything. So Laney's here saying, hey, do we want to dox? No, for his sake, at this point, no. If there's any chance that he can have, this is what we've talked about with Ricada, we've talked about it with other legal things, shut the fuck up and let's just try to work this thing out. Now, with that in mind, that's not always the possibility. You've seen this with Gloria Allred, famous female clove-hooved attorney out here in California, will bring these, these horrors up on stage and a press conference about how they were wrongfully discriminated against, or maybe Schwarzenegger banged the maid and, now he's represented. Yeah, you see that. So she does sometimes those what do you call them? Press conferences. They're necessary because you get the issue out there. Now the company wants to do something and settle. Right. We're talking about Toad here, though. Okay, so he doesn't. I'm not going to go out there and do a press conference for him. I'm not an attorney in the federal district that he would need me to file it in over there. I'm not in Massachusetts, so I'm not his guy. But my thing would be to do a little bit more massaging and not just trash this company necessarily. Right? You're going to do it in strategic ways so that it benefits you the most, so you can get the biggest bang for your buck, perhaps, and make a settlement. Okay, that would be my advice for him on this. Okay, let's continue to play
18 million. Sounds a little high. The woke mob got their eyes on it and started coming out of the woodwork and began threatening my life, threatening the lives of my family members, threatening to cancel me, threatening to remove my livelihood. And that is exactly what they are trying to do, is they have doxed me and my employer and gone to my employer, and my employer, being a bunch of pussy, woke, progressive leftists, immediately.
Okay, I mean, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. This is his intro video saying this exact stuff. So, okay, is that so bad? I mean, he didn't mention who they are. You still have a chance here. It is left wokey bullshit.
Immediately caved and fired me. So I am losing my income, losing my livelihood, essentially, and being canceled over singing a song that isn't even mine. And ironically enough, it's a song about exactly this, about being canceled over saying something that you're not allowed to say. So I am starting a fundraising campaign to help me land on my feet, help me potentially relocate away from this godforsaken hellhole of Massachusetts, and to cover legal expenses. But more importantly than all of that, this is to send a message to the faggot, woke, progressive leftists that culture is changing, baby boy. We're not doing this anymore. You can't do this to us anymore. You try to cancel us, we're going to band together and we're going to come out of this thing stronger than we even were before. So please consider donating, and thank you very much. And nigga Heil Hitler.
There you go. That's he's such a sympathetic. I'm sorry. Laney said Toad isn't Jewish, so I wasn't even thinking of a potential lawsuit. Yeah, showing a Laney edit to a judge would be the greatest thing. And Minder says, is this live? No, it's not. Yeah, so is a lawsuit viable? So possibly, like I said, I've brought these. I brought some suits where I'm just like, I had this client. I'm not going to get into the details, other than I was just like, this isn't a legit. I mean, you're a big pussy. It was just saying he was discriminated at work, and it was a situation where the boss was like 4 foot. And he was this like 6'4" person from south of the border, And she had made comments about tacos and some other things, and he was just trembling inside. And I was like, this is it, whatever. But you know what we did? We ended up getting a settlement. It was a state. He worked for the state, and we got a settlement. So that happens. Now, Toad's, you might need a lot of attorneys, if they think this is viable, they will take it on contingency, usually taking about 33 or so percent. So he's checking it out, some attorneys. The big case one on this one to me is, you've seen this, people getting fired for, COVID and whatnot. Gina Carano, is that her name? Gina Carano. She was fired from, being on The Mandalorian, right, with Disney. She got fired for posting some things and basically her political views. The problem is, in California, you can do a lawsuit about your civil rights being violated based on some political points, okay? That's not, from what my point of view, or looking at the case, I'm not an attorney out there, I don't see that possibility for Toad in Massachusetts, okay? So that is problematic. That's a little bit thing. So what I wanted to look here is, we'll take a look at this. This is her lawsuit filed against Disney. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss it. Now Toad has to get a lawyer. Yeah, maybe. This is her complaint. So she was fired. She did a tweet. She worked for The Mandalorian. She's a brute of a woman. But she was a little bit more right wing. She didn't want to take all the vax and all that stuff. And at the time, you remember, pushing back against any of the woke mob, which they are, for COVID, was going to get you in trouble. And she did. So, once again, you see, she's in the state of Montana. Okay. That's where she lived, but they filed this in California in federal court, right? Yeah. Central District, California, because one of the parties is there. So it's diversity. She's in Montana, Disney's in California, or that's where she worked. I don't know what the reason it being, but you can definitely file it in California. Possibly that's an issue. No, it's not going to be that with Toad, unless that company does work and he transfers over, through California. He's going to have to file it there. But here's some things about how you have jurisdiction in federal court. This court is a jurisdiction over subject matter action pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1332 and 1343, because Carano claims are between two persons of entity in different states in the amount of controversy exceeds $75,000 exclusive of interest. Okay, so that's called diversity. Okay, you've got two different states, and then the value amount has to be over $75,000. And they go through some of that. Now, I'm not going to walk through this whole thing, but I thought it was good here because this, once again, just kind of points to this and what he would need to do. And now Toad, he was threatened to be fired from his job for not taking the vax. This could play into it if you get a wily attorney over there who can play all these aspects and say that you're being discriminated. Maybe they fired him because they're just like, hey, look, this is the one that we've been looking for something to fire him for. We couldn't do that because that would be a blatant violation of his rights. But now we can just get rid of him because he played this ukulele online. I mean, that seems a little bit suspect, doesn't it? You don't just get to go firing people for that kind of stuff, especially someone with a disability of autism like Toad. Now, the problem with showing disability problems, if you have one, is you've had to inform your employer that you are disabled and they have to give you a reasonable attempt for accommodation. Okay. I don't know that that's happened. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. Maybe he expressed to them when he had COVID or, didn't want to get the shot that he had, certain ailments and disabilities, Noonans, all right? And if they don't treat him with an accommodation, now this is considered retaliation in a sense. So there's different parts of these civil rights that you can take apart, and you guys are like, I didn't know you could do this. Yeah. Now, you don't just get to go, I'm going to file a lawsuit for wrongful termination, because he's an at-will state and they can do that for cause, right? Or now, do they have reason? I bet if you were to go through this, that this is where you're probably you could get something out of this lawsuit, right? Now, I don't know how much you would, honestly. I'm not thinking it's going to be life-changing for Toad. And, attorney's going to take a little bit of it. And perhaps if they want to settle and they're going to go through a settlement, they're like, okay, but then you have to sign a non-disparagement. And Toad's like, well, I still need to push the PR side of this, right? I need it to benefit Toad as a ukulelist, a tower ganger, someone who does his betting show. I need something to benefit me still and make this a PR issue. and he's got a give, send, go. I think we could probably take a look at that. There you go. So that's our wonderful Toad. He's trying to raise 25,000. He's got 7,800 so far. Let's refresh this, see if it's any different. Now it's 81. Okay. So you guys, I'm not going to give anything right now. Wait till my paycheck comes in this week, and then we can talk about it. I just want to double check the chat, make sure everything okay. Now Disney stock is way down. Billions off its market cap. Disney. Yeah, I mean, look, I'll say this about Disney, which is The Mandalorian. Lincoln was in here. We did a podcast whole thing about every episode of the it was the second or third season, whatever, The Mandalorian. It was just, I thought it was kind of crappy. But I will say I've been watching, let's see, now I forgot what is good. I'll remember it. Oh geez, now it's going to drive me crazy. This is so stupid. Disney shows Star Wars, right? No, I already said The Mandalorian. It's not that one. It's, oh my God, it's the one that's fantastic. I'm going to freaking, it's I can't remember it. Anybody out there want to chime in to which one it is? It's they just released the second season. It starts with an A. Anybody? Second season. Oh, it was the second season of Mandalorian. I am going crazy here. It starts with an A, and what is it? And it's about how the Andor. Jesus Christ! Thank you. Oh, that's so pathetic. By the way, and I told you this before, Lincoln, which was I thought season 1 was absolutely great. Season 2 I find is the same way, and I think is what's fantastic about this. It's the underbelly and how the revolution is really taking place, right? And it's the people that are willing to sacrifice for all this. And then when you think about it, and you think about like all the big stars of the Star Wars movies, you're like, oh, these motherfuckers came in late. All the work had been done by these other people. And then these ones come in there and they get all the fucking glory. This is bullshit. Disney ruins everything that it touches. It's why it was memorable. Yeah, Andor. It's Andor. Yes, it's Andor. And by the way, do watch it. Okay, so regardless of all that bullshit, that's not what I'm an expert in. Okay, I love those the Star Wars stuff. I'm ask Lincoln when we do the thing. I'm like, I'm definitely not an expert. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I can see bullshit, and that's kind of what I'm doing here, and that's what we're looking at here with a lawsuit. Okay, so you got the factual allegations for her. All I wanted to look at her was the tweet that she had done, see if we have that. It was when she was with the Mandalorian, and she had said something about, comparing COVID vax card to the Star of David that you're, getting nailed with or whatever. So she exercises her free right, her thoughts only to be harassed because she did not espouse a progressive orthodoxy. Let's see if I actually, so people are calling her a racist, just the most horrible shit. And if you really think about it now, going back now where I'm at this point where you see the crap that's happening over in the Middle East, and you see how anybody, a lot of right wingers will attack you. They were probably, I don't know if they were even supportive of her at the time. They were probably just taking a back seat going, oh, that doesn't seem quite right. I would be interested to see where Ben Shapiro was on this. But if you can make any of those kind of comparisons now, you of course are an anti-Semitic, and you should be vilified, and they call you the woke right. Those are the kind of people you're talking about here. The point is, let's get to the claims. This is a lot of bullshit in here. Defend harassment. Yeah, so then she was being harassed. Then she's also like a female on set. So there was, this is a very detailed lawsuit. I don't even know what the status is of at this point. Oh, there you go. Got the swastika thrown in there. They're calling her a Nazi for all this, which is, now you look back and you just, Mark Hamill even said something. Ignorance is no excuse. But I like the tweet without understanding what the line of the hashtag. Okay, whatever. Wrongful discharge, California labor code. So maybe Toad has Massachusetts labor. I don't know. I've looked through some of these, not necessarily the case. But no employer shall make, adopt, or enforce any rule, regulation, or policy forbidding preventing employees from engaging and participating in politics or from becoming candidates for public office. See, this is the kind of stuff that California at least would have for Toad, where you can put some leverage, and people might be out there going, this isn't really what, you know, libertarians should be. Okay, I'm also an attorney. Okay, if you come to me and you're like, maybe you pointed out something during COVID, like Gina Carano did, and now you're like getting fired for it. And wouldn't you like to make that company suffer a little bit, right? Maybe make them think twice about doing that to the next person. That is, to me, the idea. That's the idea here, right? Is to push back. So you've got labor codes. Anyway, the point is California has a lot of this. Now, out there in Massachusetts, one of the big things is the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I don't know why they call it the Commonwealth. It's so gay. Unlawful discrimination because of race, color, religious creed, national origin, ancestry, or sex. This was the best I could find, this 151B, which you would have to do. And as I indicated, sexual harassment, a lot of these, you know, being pregnant, gender, age discrimination, those are all part of it. I couldn't find anything that was necessarily specific to engaging in politics, but perhaps it is out there. So he needs to find an attorney and do so. Once again, if there's some sort of discrimination he can do this process, and that's exactly how it would be. I'll keep pushing through this to see if I can find some more info for Toad. But at this point, he may or may not have a viable lawsuit. That is still up to be determined, and we will figure it out. Okay, let's get to the FBI. Let me take a look at this thing. Nah, fuck them with their own tools. The principled libertarians and happy to lick the boot as long as they can complain about the taste. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Once again, I'm putting this out there as a legal side. If this happened to me, and you know there was threats like our family during COVID, you know we were taking the vax. One of the girls was trying to get into nursing school, had a lot of trouble. The son was already in there, but you know she delayed that, and you know we had to get exemptions, COVID exemption, you know, the religious exemptions for the shot and stuff in different places. And there was a discrimination, even with my daughter during graduating high school at the time. It was ridiculous, and yeah, I wanted all those people to burn, honestly. 86 of them. Okay, that's kind of what it is. All right, let's get to this FBI stuff, because I think this is, to me, this is somewhat an interesting little prospect here. There was an interview with Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. Look, they're the part of the FBI. Let's play this here, this clip.
On the assassination attempts on President Trump.
There's two reasons, two open, ongoing prosecutions. So 2 of the investigations are obviously closed because the individuals are dead. But there's 2 live prosecutions, and so we can't get ahead of the federal court case. A lot of that information will come out in the federal court cases, but we have personally invested our time in making sure that we have looked at any possible international connections to terrorism and adversaries alike.
Okay, so one, we can maybe put to rest Gates and some of these other homos, a lot of the neocons out there, saying that this was an Iranian plot. Remember that? This is Iran that's coming after him. So according to him, I mean, we can pick and choose some of the things we like with this little interview, but he's saying it's not that either. So, which is like, okay, that would be the easy thing for them to say. And he's not. Okay.
And we've both been down to Quantico. We've both done the laboratory testing. We've both seen the explosives analysis. We've both seen the firearm physically.
Wait. He said they did the testing. Let's go back here. Did he just say he did the laboratory testing?
Analysis. We've both seen the firearm and physics. Both been down to Quantico. We've both done the laboratory testing. We've both seen the explosives analysis. We've both seen the firearm and physically held it. We are all in on these investigations.
Are we going to be surprised at what you learned?
You know what, Maria? Kash is not kidding. We've been personally briefed extensively on.
Okay, but is he kidding that he said he did the testing? So, I mean, I know he held the gun. What lab testing are those 2 doing on crooks?
Every single detail, nugget, tendril of this case. One is actively in court right now. So out of respect for the case, it's probably more appropriate that I stay quiet on that. However, I'm not going to tell people what they want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. And whether you like it or not is up to you. If there was a big explosive there, right? Given my history as a Secret Service agent and my personal friendship as a director does with the president, give me one logical, sensible reason we would not have
Okay, I've got a thing here. Nirenelmund, whatever, MD, says, no, he said he saw the testing. Okay, let's go back here. Let's go back here to say that and see what Kash Patel says here.
We are all in on these investigations.
Are we going to be surprised at what you
Oh,
learned?
whoops.
That we have looked at this, but we have personally invested our time in making sure that we have looked at any possible international connections to terrorism and adversaries alike. And we've both been down to Quantico. We've both done the laboratory testing.
Okay, so I don't know that. I mean, look, we all misspeak, okay? And I don't think he's literally saying that, but that's what I'm hearing, okay? I don't think you're. Let's just listen one more time.
We've both done the laboratory testing. We've both.
We've both done the laboratory testing, okay? He didn't say he had seen the laboratory
you like
testing.
it or not is up to you. If there was a big explosive there, right? Given my history as a Secret Service agent and my personal friendship as a director does with the president, give me one logical, sensible reason we would not have. If you can think of one, there isn't. There in some of these cases, the there you're looking for is not there. And I know people, I get it. I understand. It's not there. If it was there, we would have told you.
Well, the other issue that's been talked about recently is this mortgage fraud. But how?
Okay, then they go into mortgage. By the way, that little segue that they kept down there in that clip, yeah, and then there's mortgage fraud. You're like, what? Whoa. We have. How do you go from this assassination tip? So you think he did the lab test? No, I don't think you Mr. Adderall, I understood what he meant. I understood what he meant too, but that's not what he said. Okay? So I understand. But if you're going to fucking push back on me and saying that's not what he said, that maybe is not what he meant, but that's what he said. So what now you're just going to say I'm making up shit that I just heard? Did you guys hear it? Who all heard that? Who heard him say, we did the testing? We did the testing. He didn't say we saw it. Do I think he did the testing? No. But am I going to give him like leeway on this? No. Give me a fucking break. Okay, but you did defend him. I know who you are here. But you did defend him on the eyes. Perfectly fine. I'm not cracking on him for either one of these for their looks. They're not what I would call sightly men. I mean, let's take a look here. Look at that. They're not the best looking. But look at this. Okay, so I'm not cracking on him for that either. And I will say, before I even look about what you're saying, I get it. He didn't do the testing. That's what he said. Are we going to just take him and say, I don't care what they say, and you misspeak? Yeah. Is this material to this? No. But you also understand, not only do I do legal stuff, not only do I do analysis this, I've got to make jokes. If I don't make jokes, what do we have? Do we have none of this? We have no applause. We have no laughter. Okay? So just settle down, y'all. Down. Okay. However, let's take a look here and talk about what these guys had to say back in the day, the assassination attempt of Trump.
Man, I was at a congressional hearing with some members of Congress who actually cared about it, Eli Crane and some others, not necessarily some of the leadership who, I'm not saying they don't care, they just it's just weird. Like the former president, potentially next president of the United States, was shot in the head on live television. A guy was murdered in front of his kids, and the story's disappeared into like the Superman 2 Phantom Zone. You remember they send Zod to it's like, that's the story. It's like out there and you're like, no, nobody knows who the guy was working with. If anyone, no one, there's not a social media picture has surfaced to this kid at all. So someone asked me.
But I'm just reminding you what he said. Who fucking cares? They didn't do the testing. Fine, I get it. There's no there. But these are his comments before. He's raising good questions. He didn't address them in this conversation here, but there's no there.
Was this an inside job or was this intent? And I never say anything I can't back up, ever. Because then my credibility is at stake, and I'm never going to be a sensationalist about it. But I will tell you this. Layered incompetence is intent, correct? I'll give you an example. Right?
Can you repeat what you just said one more time?
Layered incompetence is intent.
Exactly.
So my brother-in-law's a doctor, right? He's a smart guy. If he's a doctor, right, and if he goes to the mall on a 110-degree Oklahoma City day and he's drunk, sorry, Chuck, he's not a drinker, but say he's a smart cat, right? He's sitting right there, and he's drinking, and he's blowing through traffic lights, and he's got some young kid he's babysitting in the car. And then he walks in the mall and leaves him there, and the kid dies. Did he intend to kill him? No. But there is so much layered incompetence, we presume intent. So when you're a secret...
Okay, so let's just go here. Let's go back to what we saw here with these guys talking here.
People, I get it. I understand. It's not there. If it was there, we would have told you.
Well, the other issue that's been...
So it's not there. There's no intent. Layered intent is intent. So that was one thing that Dan Bongino said at the time. Interesting part. Let's see what he has to say here.
Donald Trump's life on Saturday. Dan, thanks so much for joining us.
Sure. Like I said, my wife, Paula, said, you better do the Daily Six. She would not. She forbid me from leaving the building until I did this. And of course,
You're staying with us even though you didn't have lunch yet.
Yeah.
Really quickly. So we just want to get your take on Saturday. We know you have very unique perspective on this, given your own experience in the Secret Service. What went wrong there, and are we missing something?
there's so many things that went wrong that we have to triage this into a few simple questions, or honestly, we could be here all day. Why was there no spotter? Why was there no post stander down there? Why didn't they secure the air conditioning unit that this guy obviously at this point looks like he leapt on to get onto the building? Why wasn't there a post stander there? But if I had to pin it down to a couple of simple questions, and I've said this to members of Congress, I had Jim Jordan on my radio show and podcast, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I said, I'm begging you, during this congressional hearing, no filibustering, no nonsense, no campaign websites. Get right to the point. Number one, they spotted this guy acting suspiciously, making furtive movements and things like that 26 minutes before the shots rang out. So let's lowball it. Assume that's 20 minutes before Trump starts making President Trump his way onto the stage. Why was President Trump allowed on the stage? I mean, as a former Secret Service agent, I've got an active open threat I can't locate. So they knew about it 20 minutes before. Apparently, from what I'm hearing from sources, he had disappeared in and out of these buildings. So they.
Okay. Once again, I just think I need to do some.
My history as a Secret Service agent and my personal friendship as a director does with the president. Give me one logical, sensible reason we would not have. If you can think of one, there isn't. There in some of these cases, the there you're looking for is not there. And I know people, I get it. I understand. It's not there.
Okay, let's just keep going on with some of these.
They couldn't find him? Okay. Assume you locate. Threats happen, right? I mean, even the best security plans, you can get threats at times. I've been with them. I mean, I had a guy in a hotel room one time in Indonesia acting funny, and I said, you're going to have to delay the president landing. We found what it was, and then he landed on time. It was no problem. Why was he allowed to walk on stage? I mean, you don't need to be a former Secret Service agent like me to say, wait, so you knew there was a threat there for 26 minutes, and you still let him walk on stage anyway and get shot? I don't understand. Like, why not just delay the speech? I mean, Joe Biden.
Whoa. But Dan Bongino, have you thought of this?
I get it. I understand. It's not there.
Okay. Well, it's not there.
Biden's late on speeches all the time. The networks will wait. You couldn't wait 5-10 minutes. We have a holding room at every single site. The holding room, you know why it's called the holding room? This is very scientific. Because we hold you there if something goes bad. Right. That's literally why it's called the holding room. Why wasn't it used? That's question one. Why was he even on stage? The second question. The failed Secret Service Director, Kim Cheadle, who has been an abomination for this agency right now, just put out today, I was just talking to Mike Davis, I think you saw, one of the great commentators, love Mike, and Mike's asking some of the same questions you are, because no one can fathom the stupidity here. Kim Cheadle put out a statement that we didn't have a counter-sniper team on that roof because of the slope of the roof. Well, the shooter didn't seem to have any problem with the slope.
Okay, but have you heard of the counterpoint? Have you heard of the counterpoint, Mr. Bongino?
There you're looking for is not there. And I know people, I get it. I understand. It's not there.
Okay. Well, then that's a little bit disappointing. So I don't know what to say about that in that context, but there you go. Okay. I did have one other, I sent this to myself on email. Let's see if I can find it. No, that's not it. Tyler, where is it? Maybe I didn't send it to myself. Okay, well, that's no big deal. That's Dan Bongino, basically talking to himself, I think in circles, no big deal. That's just what we have. But what about Kash Patel? What did Kash Patel say? Now, this is Tommy Lahren. We don't really care about that. Here's what Kash Patel wrote on July 16, 2024. It was a year ago. From the attempted assassination of Donald Trump to unity. The path is difficult, but impossible. The path is difficult, but possible. Kash Patel. Whether you agree that Trump's presidency was a national security crisis, when the failed withdrawal of Afghanistan to the invasion of the border, there is a crucial crisis of truth. Everyone in the media, to government officials, to political pundits, shares the blame. In this rare moment of catastrophic disaster marked by the assassinated attempt of Trump, comes a unique opportunity for unity. The FBI's credibility crisis is of its own making. From a lawful surveillance of President Trump to the truth about Hunter Biden's laptop, they have excelled in the weaponization of law enforcement. The public outcry to distrust the FBI in this investigation is not only warranted, but essential. We must overcome their obstruction, which they have codified again, oversight. Enter Congress. Having run the most consequential constitutional oversight investigation in modern history, perhaps the following playbook can be utilized. First, a twofold witness list of government employees. Private citizens must be assembled. Yikes. This must include every single person in leadership position of the Secret Service, FBI, DOJ, and White House. This includes both retroactive review. Why did the Secret Service deny repeated requests for Trump's detail for increased protection packages? And a prospective one. And this was their actions since. And what were their actions since? However, sworn testimony only serves window dressing for meaningless headlines unless the underlying documents are obtained. Obtaining the truth. Identifying the specific divisions within these government agencies charged with any aspect of the security posture must be done to immediate haste. They must not be allowed to redact away their corruption, as they have had their pab for far too long. Meaningful questioning cannot be conducted without all emails, memorandum, text, phone logs. Furthermore, the classification system cannot be used as a shield to hide the truth from the American people. Full disclosure. Congress should not look to summarize their findings, but promulgate them to the American people. This means obtaining and releasing all government documents and transcripts of sworn depositions in full. Speed and not obfuscation is the most of my importance. Government officials responsible for the most consequential oversight and investigation in U.S. history must deliver with expediency. Remember, this is him saying what needs to be done. Have we got all the documents of Epstein? No. Here he's just saying, we're not going to release... Because my point in this is both of them pointed out the Secret Service on one, Kash Patel is pointing out the FBI, both troublesome to Trump's assassination attempts, if not as pointed out here. Well, negligence is intent. It's not, okay? That's why there's called intent crimes, mens rea, which you have to have intent to specifically do, and then there's just negligence. Now, there's criminal negligence, right? You can definitely have manslaughter, that still has a device of intent to it, okay? You meant to do something that maybe put someone in danger, a wanton disregard for their life, firing into an Amtrak train as compared to firing into what you think is just a cargo train, okay? There's two different kinds of aspects. One's is highly negligent. The other one's just, okay, you're gonna kill somebody. So you still have to have this intent to harm somebody, right? And one you don't, one you do. So he's implicating that. They are both saying that the deep state was involved. Now they're part of the deep state. Why are you not saying, I mean, you're going to call these people out. You know, Kash Patel saying we need full disclosure. We need, Congress needs to have a list of everything that's happened here, right? The public outcry to distrust the FBI in this investigation, not only warranted, but essential. We must overcome their obstruction, which they have codified against oversight. You're there now. Why are you not calling out all the people that were actually involved in this, if that's what you're saying? Bongino said intent is paramount or tantamount to intent, right? What do you say? Negligence is paramount to intent, which is ridiculous. And you know, Tucker Carlson bobs his head in that thing. So why are they acting this way now? Because they're in the cool gang. Now they're in the party. Now they're there. They're not going to turn it into a museum of the deep state overnight. Maybe they're trying to avoid divisiveness. And I'm not going to finish reading it because I think it's just, there's stuff out there. Both of these guys, they pontificate about this stuff when it's happening. So did they nail it at the time? You know, Bongino was having lots of things. He was, you know, he kind of not rose to higher acclaim, but there was a lot that was really put into him at these times because he had Secret Service background. Damn it, I did have there was a short I was going to do here. So let's see if I can. Dan Bongino, Trump assassination. Let's see if we can find this here. Okay, I don't see it. Oh, you know, do you have a thing called history? Let me see if I have it on my history on my YouTube. Here we go. There we go. Let's try this one. See what this one is all about. I'm sorry, it's the way it's playing out a short. There we go.
that the crowd was acting as their surveillance team and picked out the threat and they missed it? Can anybody explain this? These aren't even trained security personnel. They're just rally goers.
We're pointing at them. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle.
How is it that the crowd was acting as their surveillance team and picked out the threat and they missed it? Can anybody explain this? These aren't even trained security personnel. They're just rally goers.
We're pointing at them. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle.
How is it that the crowd was acting as their surveillance team and picked out the threat and they missed it? Can anybody explain this? These aren't even trained security personnel. They're just rally goers.
We're pointing at them.
Okay, I think it just get over and over. Much like this. But remember, with all his complaining and stuff at the time, here's what you really need to understand about the situation.
The director does with the president. Give me one logical, sensible reason we would not have. If you can think of one, there isn't. There in some of these cases, the there you're looking for is not there. And I know people, I get it. I understand. It's not there. If it was there, we would have told you.
Well, the other issue.
Okay. Just a few items on that. One, they were bullshit before, and now they get in there and they're like, well, here's the truth. Or they're hiding something, or they're not going to call out their, because if they were right before, and by the way, I mean, they have a lot of good points to go over, which is, how did this happen? How did the Secret Service, are you telling me that at the Secret Service, you're not going to just call them out now? Why couldn't you not do that? No one would think that if Crooks is just a lone gunman, he's up there doing it, they talked about whitewashing his house and his parents and all this stuff, right? But now it's nothing there. I have a hard time for these two putting those two together, right? The least you can do is destroy this deep state when you're in there right now and call these motherfuckers out for this happening because you said that was happening at the time. You were so sure that it was happening at the time. And now you're in there and it's like, hey guys, why, oh, let me do it like, hey guys, why are we having this problem? Yeah. Maybe I should check out the chat. I don't know if we have anything here. That is hilarious. Typical. Okay, you guys are talking about your other stuff. Okay, so okay, yeah. None of this has to do with anything about the show, but I appreciate you guys taking the time. Good evening, Tyler, says Curtis. Thank you for being here as well. Literally at the news conference, the people got up and left. They read his manifesto, passed out. The second press conference, it was so hilarious. I'm not sure which one you're talking about here. Okay, well, I think there we go. All right, everybody. So I think we took 86 EZMFers. Yeah, I guess so. Did you pick up arguments on Krasensteiners? Wait, pick up this argument on Kraserstein or something? No, sorry. I think you totally misunderstood that interview. Frankly, anything was an improvement over the director during the assassination. She was a DEI. She did security. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something here. I make more money on the... Okay. Sometimes I don't know if you guys are talking to me or yourself. Okay, so pipe bomb. There's another one. If you guys want to shill for these guys, perfectly fine. I'm not giving them much of the pass. The reason I'm not giving them much of the pass is because they are just political wanks. Okay, who now they're in power in a very serious department, and they're going to. I don't know. Maybe they'll be great, but I just see it as them trying to push their own agenda and. Also, you guys like them, not for what they are doing now, but for all the yelling that they were doing about the people in power at the time. So now that they yelled and now they're in power and those two don't connect, why are you not seeing that that's a problem? Okay? Or maybe you are. Okay. I think that's where we're at. That's all I wanted to talk about tonight. We talked about Toad. We talked about a few other things. I don't know if I'll do another show this week. Other than that, we will get back to you on Friday. Once again, go to my Substack, tyleryonke.com/ or tyleryonke.substack.com or substack.com/tyleryonke. I don't know. It's in the description, people. That's where you have to go. Let me rescue your live stream. I was 2 blocks from the Palm Spring bombing. Ask me anything. Are you talking to me? Okay. Did you do it? There you go. Who won the Tour of Italy? Look, Curtis, great question. The Tour of Italy is only, 8 stages in? They just had a break today. It's the second rest day. They come back. Yesterday, they ran over the white gravel in Italy. It's these roads they call Strada Bianca. It's kind of this stage over there. It was quite a dramatic day. Have a time trial tomorrow. A little bit more mountains. They'll be up in the Alps and the Dolomites here soon. But another, 2 weeks left. They just finished the first week. So hang on, everybody. We will be back on that. Maybe I'll have to read back in the chat because I don't know if Nyron Al MD is going after me or going after himself. I didn't say anything about Palm Springs pipe bombing, but good for you guys. Okay, thanks for joining. Once again, sub here. Get the notification so when I go live, you're here with me. And we will see you all next time. If not Friday, if not before, at least on Friday. See ya.
Okay, I'm leaving now, bye guys.
But she's back.
And now.
Tyler, if you had any clout about you, if you had any knowledge of the real world of what happens, we walk into Tim Cass' studio, immediately there's 4 Jewish lawyers.
King of the Druids!
That's all we needed. A Jewish princess.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't expect the normies like Tyler to understand these kind of things. He's just a podunk lawyer somewhere in rural California. He's an idiot, really.
Takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick. I guess that's me. Keep fucking that chicken.
This guy's, I wouldn't say he's full of shit, but I say.
All right, we're not going out because we got this guy. Dude, I literally had trouble following you. Yeah, you're talking in here, all kinds of shit here about being in the desert. No one fucking cares. So I don't know what you want me to do about that. How did you have trouble following me? You had guys that were telling big stories about what they're going to do when they get into power at the FBI. They get into power at the FBI and they don't do it. And I do meth much? No, I don't do any meth, okay? So I don't care if you don't follow me anymore. You could go fuck yourself for all I give a shit, okay? And I'm like, oh, I get worried. I don't get too worked up about this. I don't really care. But if you want to go in here and say doing meth much, I mean, what do you want me to do? You know, I'll mock you as well.